YouTube, we're here with LegitKorea, the 2022 first ever challenger on NA. Congrats, man. How does that feel, by the way?
Thanks. It's kind of a, what should I say, surreal feeling in terms of like, I knew I could hit rank 1. I just didn't expect it to happen. In terms of like early season, at least, I thought there was going to be like a lot of psychopaths on the server and just like grinding nonstop, like 24 hours a day. And it turns out that I was actually the psychopath.
You were the leader of the psychopaths. So
Exactly.
it didn't feel like a close race this time around?
No, I was actually, when I hit rank 1 challenger, I was 300 LP above the second place person.
Wow.
So I hit it in 3 days.
Why do you think that is? Is it RNG? Like, I'm not trying to insult the accomplishment. I mean, there's got to be some element of RNG, right? I mean,
Yep. So I completely agree with that. There's 3 factors in terms of climbing. One of them being how well you perform. So how consistently and how well you perform. So that's one of the factors. The second factor being how much dedication and time you put in. So obviously, if someone puts in 5 games a day and someone puts in 20 games a day, the person with 20 games is going to climb, right? So
got it.
I've streamed first day 19 hours, second day 16 hours, and then the last day I finished with 8 hours. I finished the climb with a 68% win rate on 61 games. And then the last factor is obviously a tad bit of RNG where, if you have good teammates or if you have teammates that are willing to play, you are going to have higher qualities of games. And luckily for me, I've grinded pretty hard early season. So a lot of the games that I got were paired against other challenger players or pro players, which they did want to play and win the game. And so because that happened, I was able to kind of take that into a more positive and like be able to pick better players. Because the thing with being rank 1 or being like, the first to hit rank 1 is I don't have to be the best player, right? All I have to do is stop the best player on their team from being the best player. And how do I do that is by picking them off.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. And today it's time for another NEACE Gets Coached. The last few have been doozies. This time, this is a champion I have not ever really played. I think I've played her max like 2 or 3 times. And yes, obviously would you call yourself one trick pony, Ahri, at this point, or no?
I would definitely say I am an OTP.
Okay.
But I can play other champions for like if it's for team play and things like that. I tried to go professional amateur scene back in 2015, 2016.
Cool. Yeah.
It just didn't work out. But
cool. So, well, we're gonna do this the same way that we did it before. I'm sharing my screen with you. Are you recording on your end? I hope you are.
Yeah, it's live on my Twitch, which is recorded.
Perfect, because that would be super helpful when and where we decide to put this on YouTube or whatever. So what we'll do is, first things first, if you could share your screen with me, just so I have that, if you can share it on Discord. Perfect. And all I want is I just want to be able to see runes that you're running, and then any combos that you're going to be showing, because we're going to hop into the practice tool first and you give the complete Ahri rundown.
All right. So in terms of runes, it's like somewhat versatile for Ahri. There's a couple different ones that I run, but overall, if you want to just run like turn off your brain build, I would say this one is probably good right here. This one is obviously optional. So I like to run Electrocute, very standard. Helps you with trades and things like that. Oops, I just exited out of it. This just overall is the best damage output for scaling mid game as well. So if you're looking for picks, things like that, Electrocute is the best option. There's a couple of different ones such as like Predator, or if you wanted to go like Ahri, I'll go into that another time, or
okay, that's fair.
Maybe a bit later.
That's fine.
Second part is Taste of Blood. A lot of people like to say that they want to run cheap shot. Nah, the amount of times you land charm and deal the extra damage, it's not worth it. It's better to have the consistent HP healing with Taste of Blood.
Okay.
Eyeball Collection, easiest to stack. Ultimate Hunter is also the easiest to utilize because you're ulting quite often. So this is the setup for Domination. For Sorcery, this is a preference. Mana Flow helps you with the early game for the 250 extra mana. Or you can run Absolute Focus with Gathering Storm. The reason why is because a lot of the times Ahri struggles with scaling.
Yes.
Especially like if you can definitely feel it in the mid game where like, oh, you landed a full combo and I didn't one-shot them. This will help out if you want to run more of a one-shot build.
Got it.
Absolute Focus, because if you play from Fog of War, enemies cannot hit you, thus you'll be full HP. You can deal full damage to the enemy target.
Awesome. Yo, well, hop into the practice tool and let's get right into it then. I want to know every little dumb thing about Ahri that, you know, maybe people that think they know Ahri probably don't even know, right? Because I imagine you got some things in there that are top tier.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things actually. So you want me to hop in practice, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm watching. Let's get to it.
So the big thing with Ahri is that a lot of people say, very common thing, I feel like I don't have mana with Ahri, and that's a very prevalent common problem. And the reason for that is because people actually spam their abilities. So when they use Charm, so like let's say for example there's a target right here, and they want to, you know, charm this target and trade with this target. Usually the combo is Charm with Q, and the problem with this is that people just kind of like use it really quickly after each other, and you don't need to do that, especially if they're like full distance away. With Charm, you could actually wait a little bit and then throw out your Q once it lands, because the problem that people have is that they're trading their mana resource, and if they miss their Charm, they're not trading any HP resource. So you're losing just a bunch of resource by just kind of like spamming your abilities. One of the biggest things is wave management and like how you play the early game. So I personally don't like to trade against the enemy unless they're available to kill, like if they're in kill pressure range. Okay. So a lot of the times, like if you're playing against melee champions, it's very possible to get them to kill range. In that case, you know, like Ignite is possible to run. But other than that, I would advise not throwing Charm out too much in the early game. You'll just lose out a bunch of mana, and then with people being a lot of the times in lower elo, they don't know when to recall either.
Got it. So I don't want to get too far ahead though, because we're going into wave management and all that stuff, which is great, which I want. But I don't want you to skip too far ahead of the abilities. Base level rundowns. You don't have to, you know, freak it where you just start like going through every little fucking nook and cranny. But main takeaways on the abilities, starting with the passives.
Gotcha. Passive is actually is broken.
Okay.
So let me tell you about this. This is something that nobody knows.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
So if you look right here, I'm going to take some damage. I'm going to get rid of HP healing. And then we see that we have our passive healing, right? It's green. That means we have our passive.
All right.
Now, when you have your passive, you should only be able to use an ability to gain HP from one ability, right? So Q will heal. Now, in this case, you can actually heal from all 4 of these abilities at once.
Okay.
And the way you do that is you actually use all the abilities before they land onto the minion wave or the target that you're trying to heal off of. It's an Ahri bug, but Riot doesn't seem to want to fix it, and it's been mentioned multiple times to them, so if they don't want to fix it, feel free to use it. All right. Okay. Another thing.
What's the difference? Like, I know we can't. It's kind of hard to demo, but like, what's the difference in healing that we're talking here? Because I mean, it looked kind of minor on that, but
yeah. So let's talk about you get 1 stack of healing per minion that it goes through, right? So let's talk about 1 minion wave, 1 regular minion wave. It's 6. 6 minions. If it goes through all the way and comes back, that's 12 with Q, correct?
Yep.
Now, if you use your W before that hits, that increases the count up to 15, right?
Okay.
So the passive healing effectiveness is increased by 25%. because if you do 15 stacks instead of 12, that's 3 more. That's 25%.
Got it. Dope. Okay, cool. Excellent.
So you're effectively gaining 25% more of your passive effectiveness by just pressing W. The next thing is that you can only get 3 stacks per ability, correct? So if you use Q, even if you hit multiple targets, you can only get 3 stacks. But there's actually a bug where you can get all the way up to 6 stacks with your Q. So this is kind of important. So I'm gonna utilize my passive real quick. And if you look right here, I'm gonna Q, and right when it comes back, I'll press W and I'll gain max charges. So you can see right here.
All right.
So that's all you need to know about passive. If you use your Q, when it comes back, press W, you will gain max stacks. All right, so not only are you utilizing 25% more effectiveness, you can gain your passive a lot faster. So
sweet.
That's how you can sustain in lane.
And you use this a lot.
I do.
Okay. Sweet. And so I mean, I guess the Q is pretty self-explanatory. Deals damage to pretty much everything. The damage is amped based on the E, correct? If we hit the E?
Yep, if you hit your E, it's increased by 20%. Any ability of Ahri. So whether it's Q, W, ulti, it doesn't affect Ignite or any other like abilities here. It's only her abilities.
Okay, cool. And then I guess the last bit here, I mean, Charm, is there anything special that we should know about Charm going into this? Yeah.
So a lot of people do know about the flash charm. You can cancel the buffer timer.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you can actually like kind of curve your charm in terms of like if there's targets in front like this, you can actually change the angle by flashing. But all you got to do is place your charm on top of the target and flash to a different direction, like that. Okay. So this is how you can. That's how you can change.
So I want to try that because I'm curious now. So you say if there's a bunch of minions here, then you got this here. So you literally just like you put your cursor first, here,
and then you flash into the direction that you want.
Wow, that is actually I did not know that. That's kind of cool.
A lot of the times people will get thrown off by that.
Yeah, if you did that to me, I would have no idea what you were doing. I would assume that you were just like the fanciest player. Yeah, I did not know that worked like that. That's really interesting, man.
Yep. So that's probably the most mechanical thing you could do about Ahri. There's not really much mechanics to her. A lot of it is just like smart play and decision making. That's the biggest thing about Ahri.
Well, that was what I was gonna say, and looking at the abilities, there's not a lot to her. Right?
Nope,
there's not a lot going on here. I mean, like I had 5 fire with the Yone, the other one, and it was like, oh, look at this, you can do this with Yone, you can do this with Yone, and then it has Solar Baka where it's like, look at this, you can put a Sheen proc in a barrel, right? It's like all this crazy stuff. And with Ahri, it's just kind of like, yeah, we got your standard like stock standard abilities here. We got a charm that you point at people, but I'm kind of surprised that I never knew that that's how this worked. I had no idea. That's pretty dope. What else? Any other tricks, techniques, things you want to share?
Yeah, there's two more things that are pretty important.
Okay.
Let's talk about charm and Q. People think charm and Q are the same range, but they're not.
Okay.
This is a tad bit longer than this. So as you can see, charm will actually land like around here. Yeah. It'll be a little bit closer. Like that. And Q will not hit. Only the end will hit. Right, so it's actually hitting the same, but the range of charm is actually longer. It's,
I believe 10, you. I know you're not lying.
50. I don't know why it's actually hitting in practice tool, but because of this, people think that the Q range is like the max range. So if you throw out your Qs a lot in lane, they'll get used to it and conditioned to the Q range, correct?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then because your charm is a little bit longer, they'll space just right outside of your Q, but they'll walk into it a lot of the times. All right, and then the last thing is a mechanical thing with ultimate. Ultimate actually doesn't fire off the charge until you finish the dash. So what this means is if you ulti on top of yourself, you'll instantly deal damage. Whereas if you do a long dash, it'll take a while to extend.
So there's situations where you need the damage instantly, and that's why you're bringing this up, because you might kill yourself by doing a long R when in reality you could have just slapped the ground.
Very good example is if you're tower diving, you need to do a full combo like that, and you don't want to be in tower range.
Oh, okay.
So you ulti in place to get the damage.
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Another thing, like last thing with the ulti, is you can flash right before the ulti finishes, and the ulti will go off. So like that, and then the charge will actually hit the target like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. That's it?
Yeah, that's all you can do with Ahri.
I love how confident you are. That's it. That's all we got.
Yeah, there's nothing like too. There are some like small tricks, but it's like none of them are like important enough to actually mention, because like there's some things like you can charm and Q flash at the same time and like cancel these buffers, but the situations where you have to do that, and like I said, where if you miss your charm, you just burned your flash for no reason. There's just not a lot of practical reasons to know them.
Got it. Sweet.
So these are the practical ones.
Sweet. Well, yeah, I like it. I prefer a simple champion this time, because the last ones, like I said, Yone and GP were a little wild with the explanations. This is good. All right. Yeah. Are you ready to attempt a live coaching?
I am ready.
Are you ready? Because I don't know what elo this is. I assume it's low, but who knows? I have Ahri on this account, clearly, because I checked. And I'm just going to give this a run. My questions while we're in queue. First question is Ahri second role. Is there ever an argument for Ahri top? Is there ever an argument for any other roles? What would you